Dear class of 2019, welcome to the 15th commencement ceremony of Ashesi University. Dear members of the class of 2009 who are here today, we're thrilled to have you return to campus today as you celebrate 10 years since your own graduation ceremony. Sitting here today, I'm sure you share in the pride of how far your alma mater has come. I'm excited to see that you continue to remain engaged and committed to Ashesi's vision and growth. And class of 2019, when you first joined this community, we had just celebrated 13 years of Ashesi. But in so many ways, your arrival also heralded a lot of new beginnings here. During your time here, we successfully completed 15 new campus construction projects spanning classrooms, labs and workshops, recreation spaces, faculty research spaces, faculty and administrative offices, and on-campus student housing. During your time here, we received our presidential charter, granting us full rights to award our own degrees. Ashesi University's recognition has continued to grow around the world. And this year, for the first time, Ashesi made it into the Global Times Higher Ed ranking of universities that are making an impact in the world. With your class, Ashesi implemented a major curriculum redesign, a restructuring that deepened our efforts to teach critical thinking, design thinking, problem solving, and entrepreneurship. Your incredible student government executives, led by Edwin and Benjamin, will go down in our history as having set a new bar for how Ashesi Student Council ought to operate. And I'm not just saying this because they majored in engineering like I did, but really under their leadership, we experienced a lot of positivity and joy on our campus, and I really want to thank them for that. Thank you very much. And of course, your class has the honor of hosting Ashesi's very first engineering students who brought a lot of new intellectual energy and excitement to campus. So for what you have contributed towards making Ashesi a more excellent institution for future generations, I think you deserve an A+. This is the first time I've said that at a graduation ceremony, by the way. A+, thank you. So as you graduate today, I wish you courage, class of 2019. The challenges and responsibilities that you will likely face will test you and require even more of you than your time here has done. 3 days ago, I had a conversation with the founder of an NGO who asked me a very pointed question. Patrick, do you think Ghana is worth dying for? So I asked him, why are we talking about dying for Ghana? And he stated simply that sometimes he wasn't so sure that Ghana would advance, despite all the work he and others were doing, and he wondered if he should persist. My response, we need people amongst us who, despite all the challenges and obstacles that confront us, maintain their courage and optimism that things will get better, and who will work hard to make it so. All across this continent, we need courageous citizens and leaders who see opportunities in our adversity. Instead of asking, is Ghana or Kenya, or Uganda, or Nigeria worth dying for? I encourage you to ask, am I living a worthy life that will make things better for future generations of my country and humanity? I also confessed to him that through the years, I have come to see that there are two significant attitudes in Ghana that seem to work against each other in our drive for prosperity. On the one hand, Ghanaians value and understand that peace, unity, and neighborliness are essential for growth and prosperity. Across this society, we hear consistent reminders about the importance of working together to change Ghana for the better. We see broad condemnations of violence, especially when it occurs around our politics. We hear it when we turn on the radio and listen to Bernard Avley and Daniel Dadzi and others discuss issues confronting Ghana. There doesn't seem to be that same visceral collective antipathy towards corruption as there is to violence. There does not seem to be a collective understanding that corruption, especially the looting of public monies, is fundamentally a violent act against citizens, and especially against the most vulnerable. Think about all the roads that could have been built, the hospitals, the schools, the water and sanitation systems, and the security systems that could have been developed if more of the public's monies were used for the public good instead of being squirreled into the personal accounts of corrupt officials. Corruption seems to have become such an accepted way of life in Ghana that there are now many who believe it cannot be addressed, who have lost hope, and who themselves feel justified going along with it. This is profoundly unwise. And this is why, despite 11 years of having run an examination honor system here at Ashesi, the idea of it still is often met with disbelief. In reaction to a recent news story about our honor system that was posted on Ashesi social media, there were many who responded and insisted that it was ridiculous to trust students to take exams without invigilators. Quote, "This will never be possible. Ashesi must have cameras in classrooms," unquote. Quote, "I like Ashesi, but I think this honor system is a bad idea," unquote. Think about that for a second. That in Ghana today, there are so many people who do not believe that students at the highest levels of our educational system cannot hold each other to account, cannot act with integrity, that these future leaders of our society, without a supervisor in the room, cannot conduct exams ethically. Think about that for a minute. That in Ghana, it is widely accepted that students at the oldest and largest institutions of, quote, higher learning will cheat whenever they can, do not have a deep grounding in ethical philosophy, and do not have the courage to hold their peers accountable. Some people tell me, "Patrick, your students at Ashesi are very smart, creative, and capable, but they're too idealistic. They don't seem to understand how things are done here." They're talking about you, class of 2019, as well as the alumni of this institution who have gone before you. But perhaps, rather than be discouraged by this, we should feel a hope that comes from hearing others tell us that Ashesi students and alumni are in fact behaving ethically and are refusing to go along with, quote, how things are done here, unquote. And isn't it interesting that Ashesi alumni are so sought after in the world of work? These smart, creative, capable, and yes, these idealistic citizens of our country, of our countries in Africa. We have asked you to rise up to the occasion many times, and often you have. We, the faculty and staff of this institution, have also strived to be the models of accountable leadership. When you or we have failed, we have worked together to learn from the failure and to correct it. Just as we have held you to account, you have also held us to account. The next stage of your life, however, will test your Ashesi values more severely than we have done in this bubble we call Ashesi University. I hope that you will have the fortitude to remain steadfast to your values. Wherever you find yourself, in government, in private enterprise, in the social sector, Remain true to the words of our national anthem, to cherish fearless honesty. All around you today, you're surrounded by fellow Ashesi alumni. Many of them are walking the same path that you're now stepping onto. Look at them as allies in this next phase of your lives. Look at them as comrades in the work to continue reshaping the narrative of this continent. They have faced many of the challenges you will be facing. Some may have stumbled at some point, corrected their mistakes, and will have valuable insights to share about what they learned. To families and friends gathered here today, I encourage you too to find the courage to be allies to these students as they forge ahead. Don't call them naive to believe they can operate in their various communities without paying a bribe or being corrupted. Don't call them idealistic for believing that they have the capacity to influence the world and solve problems big and small. Work with them, encourage them, lend them your experiences, share their hope. And sometimes, no matter how tempted we may be to point out to them how unrealistic their plans are, let us share in their naivete. Ashesi is here because I was naive about what I could or could not do. Google is here because their founders were naive about what they could or could not do. So let us share and encourage this kind of bold naivete. Because as I told the chief executive who asked me, is Ghana worth dying for? If enough of us focus on living worthy lives, then we will change the world. Let us also remember that Ghana is in fact making progress. Africa is making progress. Our job is to push it along and help accelerate it. Class of 2019, congratulations on signing out of college in grand style. Today you get to sign in to the rest of your lives. Carry the spirit of Ashesi wherever you go from here. I have absolute confidence that you will make us proud. Thank you.